Okay, good morning. Welcome to another Facebook Live episode at Clark's Nutrition. Appreciate you guys coming in. Appreciate you guys sharing the link with everybody. Seems like we got a little bit of success with everybody kind of sharing it, so I appreciate that. So today we're going to just do a real small segment. I thought we'd talk about amino acids, and I'll give you a little breakdown on amino acids and maybe where they came about, and a little bit of history and things of that nature. So somewhere in like 1979, 1980, we actually started seeing amino acids come onto the market. And so what's unique about amino acids is, remember that any type of protein is made of amino acids. But when it comes to amino acids, in a protein structure, so to speak, they're going to be anywhere from like maybe 100 to maybe 500 or more amino acids kind of tied together like a pearl on a string. So the body actually has to take those proteins in and throw it through a digestive process. So hydrochloric acid in the stomach and then pancreatic enzymes from the pancreas kind of start breaking down those amino acids into smaller chains. When the pancreas is done, they end up in what we call some peptide forms. You might have heard that before. The other thing is each one of those enzyme steps is actually a hydrolysis process. So the hydrolyzation of those enzymes, so to speak, is called hydrolysis. And so you might see hydrolyzed amino acids or hydrolyzed proteins, things of that nature. That basically means it's gone through the first two-step process of digestion. And so they're basically in smaller fragments, so to speak. So then what happens after the stomach and the small intestines, the next 30 feet of small intestines, we actually see little tiny fragments broken down into what we call free amino acids or single amino acids. So real quick review, big old monster, huge 100 strands or more, maybe 500 strands of amino acids all tied together, goes through hydrochloric acid, that kind of breaks it down into strands like maybe 25 to 50. Then it passes through the duodenum, gets a little showering, so to speak, of pancreatic enzymes, proteases, and they get broken down into like 2, 3s, 4s, and maybe 9 little pieces. Some of those can be absorbed by the body, but then the other little fragments on the microvilli, the little hair-like projections in the small intestines, break down the next amino acid fragments, those 2, 3s, 9s, down into singles or dis or tris, which are like 2s and 3s. Then the body can actually absorb and pull them out. All right, so all that said for a reason. When we start talking about free amino acids, remember that they're like single, individual. So when we think of individual, the nice thing about an individual amino acid is the absorption rate is very rapid and very quick. So for instance, like if we take branched chain amino acids, so many people are familiar with branched chain amino acids. You look at branched chain amino acids, when we talk about branched chain amino acids, ultimately it takes about 5 minutes on an empty stomach to get into the bloodstream. As opposed to when we actually consume, any type of protein, whether it's whey or whether it's hemp or whatever type of protein you're consuming, that process takes anywhere from like maybe 2 hours to 6 hours to fully get into the system. So the nice thing about amino acids is they drive right into the bloodstream and they basically react very quickly in the body. Now, a couple different things. Number one, it doesn't mean that you just want to take free amino acids. Your body still needs whole, complete proteins in order to feed the system properly, all right? So when we look at amino acids, the nice thing about amino acids, because they absorb very rapidly, they get into the system, their action and their potential action on biological systems is very rapid. Okay, so what we'll do today is kind of go through maybe some basic amino acids that we sell a lot of, just kind of maybe get you a little bit of information. So one of the fun ones to start off with is arginine. So arginine's gotten a lot of press lately. So one of the things about arginine is it does kick up nitric oxide levels. So it's been used in all sorts of different types of pre-workouts. And there's a couple different forms of it. There's arginine ketoglutarate, there's arginine agmatine sulfates, a couple other different types of arginine. But what we do know is it does kick up natural nitric oxide levels. So what does that mean? What it's going to do is it's actually going to vasodilate or help with the vasodilation action. So are there different types of foods that might do that? For sure. So when we see beetroot, and one of the reasons why beetroot's so popular is it has compounds that are like that and it actually stimulates the nitric oxide production. Is it clinically significant enough in all situations? Not necessarily clinically significant enough to be huge factor, but we do know this. A lot of the different types of pre-workouts or the pre-workouts that help with kind of like maybe giving you vasodilation, making you feel more pumped or tighter, we know it's effective enough to where you're going to get that kind of effect, all right? So another reason why people use arginine too is it helps with protein synthesis. So it's another amino acid that's typically lacking. It's one of the 8 essential or not the 8 essential amino acids, but it's what we call one of the conditionally essential amino acids, especially for young kids and elderly individuals. So it gives us a little rundown of arginine. So let's talk about some old school thoughts of arginine as well too. I think we should end with that. There are some studies using large doses of arginine, like about 5 to 10 grams of arginine, either before the workout or before bed, actually helps increase the growth hormone release from the body. How significant is that? There's a lot of clinicals on it, dose dependent, independent double-blind studies, kind of a neat little thing. It's a lot of arginine. So, are there any negatives with arginine? Yes. If you have a tendency to be herpes sensitive, like maybe fever blisters, cold sores, things of that nature, arginine seems to aggravate the symptoms of those and actually maybe help to increase maybe more factors that would allow those situations to come about more frequently. So, where would I use arginine? Definitely pre-workout. Definitely something that you can use with nitric oxide production and kind of working with either like the vascular system, using it throughout the day, 500,000 milligrams, very safe dosages. The heavy dosages, 5 grams or more, 2 to 5 grams, you definitely want to make sure that you're starting out slow, making sure that your body's agreeing with it and is working from there. All right, so that's a little bit of arginine. Now, one thing we know is arginine converts into ornithine on that growth hormone pathway. So you'll see combinations where it says arginine and ornithine combination together. So arginine converts to ornithine, ornithine gets converted into growth hormone. So that's why you might see this combination super popular for people that just kind of want to stay lean in that nature. All right, so let's go off the track a little bit. One of the other one that's so popular nowadays is carnitine. So carnitine we have in liquid, we have in capsule, there's all sorts of different delivery systems on carnitine. I think there's a gummy that's coming out as well too. So when we look at carnitine actually is made in the body. It's an amino acid for sure, but it's what we actually call an intermediate amino acid. The amino acids methionine and lysine actually come together in the liver to help make this. And so what's unique about carnitine is necessary. Every single cell in the body needs carnitine. So what happens with carnitine, it actually helps to shuttle fats into the mitochondria to be used as an energy source. So originally, the idea on carnitine was, well, hey, great, when it comes to workout, what can we do with it? So a lot of guys use it like pre-workout, helps with energy, focus, but later on we actually found that carnitine helped with recovery as well too. All right? Sorry about that. But also, once again, you'll find it in the capsules, and there's a couple different versions of carnitine. So one of them is the acetyl form. I like to say with the acetyl carnitine, it's from what I call the waist up. Okay, carnitine works throughout the whole body, so does acetyl carnitine. But acetyl carnitine works actually in the brain. So when you look at the acetyl carnitine, there's a couple different studies that are out that helps with dementia, and it's not like a prevention for Alzheimer's or a cure for Alzheimer's, but it ends up being a combination with the acetyl carnitine that actually helps increase like mental alertness. And once again, we said there's some double-blind studies out there that actually show that it's good for age-related dementia situations or just memory loss. So ultimately, I think acetyl carnitine would be one of the great combinations to use. The other thing we find out with athletics, acetyl carnitine actually helps to raise the acetylcholine levels. You guys might have heard me talk about that before. It's great for mind and muscle reactions. It's definitely one of those things you want to use before you play some type of a sport. All right. Another one of my favorites, Gaba. So when it comes to anxiety, Gaba is like one of the best ones to use for anxiety. Okay, and we talked about this one a little bit before. So when we look at this, one of the things that's great with Gaba is it definitely calms the body down very effectively. Very effective in calming the anxiety levels, kind of use it in between meals. It seems to be one of the more popular amino acids of choice. Once again, it's a single amino acid, so it's very easy to use in a capsule form. So that said, let's look up to another little fun one that we've got down here. This was one of the ones that hit the market years ago, and it's lysine. It's one of the first amino acids that got pumped onto the market back in the late 1970s, early 1980s. So what we found about lysine is this. So it helps with skin, it helps with the immune system. And the other thing it seems to be helpful for too as well is it kind of helps balance out that arginine levels. A lot of people that oftentimes eat vegetarian diets have a large amount of arginine in the system. Lysine balances that out, being important once again for helping with growth factors as well as prevention. And so I said prevention of herpes situations. So what does it mean, like herpes situation? More of the fever, cold sores, things of that nature seems to be one of the more popular items that are used for it. The other thing that lysine seems to be super helpful for as well too is skin and nails. So it's definitely one of the things you might see slipped into a lot of different formulas. All right? Okay, lysine. So, let's see if I can find one of the fun ones down here. So this is another fun one, tryptophane. So a lot of guys might have heard about tryptophane way back in the day. Back in the 1980s, there was a little bit of concern with the tryptophane because there was a contaminant that was found in some types of tryptophane that were on the market. And some individuals ended up having some complications with it. Tryptophane's been back on the market for a long period of time now. It's safe, it's effective. So what we know about tryptophane is this: it actually helps with the production of serotonin. Serotonin, of course, is what's necessary to kind of calm the body and actually help the body kind of relax and go into a sleep cycle. So a lot of times people will use this, and you'll notice it says helps with positive mood and helps with restful sleep, okay? So definitely an item for individuals that maybe are having a tough time sleeping. Tryptophane for years has been a popular substance to use to kind of help with restful sleep, all right? So then, another one of my fun ones I like is L-theanine. Okay, L-theanine is an amino acid that's a little bit unique. It really is not an amino acid that you would get from a protein source. L-theanine is actually found in green tea. So what's cool about the green tea, L-theanine, it's the item that actually kind of calms the brain. There's a lot of cool studies that shows that the brain actually ends up in what we call an alpha wave dominance when using L-theanine. So a lot of times if you ever consume green tea, you'll notice a couple of cool things. You get the initial caffeine effect, but at the same time, it's kind of like a calm, even, settled effect on the brain. And so that's the L-theanine that's in there. So the L-theanine itself calms the brain, helps it be able to focus, as well as be relaxed at the same time, and be able to not only study and learn well, but also be able to sleep well as well. So you'll see a lot of times they'll combine like tryptophane and the L-theanine together to kind of give a nice little effect as far as like relaxation, helping with sleep, and also helping you kind of maybe fall asleep as well too. All right, so that kind of wraps up this session. We're going to make it nice and short for you guys today. Gives you a little bit on some amino acids. One thing for sure when it comes to pre-workout, post-workout, the branched chains rule that world. So the branched chain amino acids are great for muscle tissue recovery and repair. And then there's some of the individual amino acids as we discussed today. And not only for calming, also for sleep, and also maybe for improved vascular situations with the arginine. Kind of gives you a little bit of things to chew on. All right, this is Starkie Sowers. Thanks again for watching another Facebook Live.